Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Wake your ass up, fool. John J. and Rich. What's crack-a-lackin'? This is the big boss dog. Snoopy Deagle Double Jizzle. Bang, boom. What you gonna do? John J. and Rich. We're not talking about Ren 1010. We're not talking about Lassie. It's the one and only dog, y'all. The classy, sassy, big Snoopy Deagle Double Jizzle. In your face to be and in the place to be. And you're listening to John J. and Rich. Wake your ass up, fool.
John J. and Rich. It's Friday.
Yeah. About time.
Yeah.
Our phone number is 877-937-1047. You can text us. You text JJR, whatever you want to say, to the number 96893. Couples Podcast, week 3, drops Sunday at 10 a.m. And it's my wife, Blake, and I. We sat in here because I have the equipment for the home podcast, just don't know how to connect it all.
Yeah, that's Kyle. I get a picture from John Jay, right at 0 hour, with a box of the thing that I bought him to do the podcast in a microphone. And he's like, "Is this all I need?" And I just wrote back, "Oh dear.
Oh dear." So anyway, we came in here to do it. And I think, we had a lot of questions and we answered all the questions. We got into, people were asking about the foot page, answer that. People asking all kinds of marital questions, all kinds of stuff. But it's in the studio. And I think it's going to be better whenever the next time we're going to rotate. It'll be when I get this equipment figured out, we're chilling at the house. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think Peyton, you had said the same thing.
Yeah.
It was just a different vibe.
Yeah, it was almost it just was weird. It honestly felt like a weird outer body experience for me because it's first of all, you're coming into the studio hours after we're here in the mornings, which is already just kind of weird in general. And then also, too, you're it means business when we're in the studio. And this podcast isn't supposed to be just business.
That's a good
point. Fun. So I think that'll help you.
We're doing the podcast, and it was about a 35-minute podcast. And halfway through, now, before the podcast started, I had, was plugging in my headphones. There's a engineer here listening to making sure. I go, "All right, can you hear me?" And Blake, say something. I can hear you. You can hear all the check 1 2 1 2. And I'm like, "Can you hear me?" She's like, "I can hear you." And I'm like, "Okay." So we're doing, just the normal stuff that's really behind the scenes. Halfway through the podcast, I look at her, and her headphones are not plugged in. She's got her headphones sitting out. The cord is sitting right here, and I'm like, "I thought you said you could hear me." She goes, "I can." I said, "But not through the headphones." She's like, "No." I can't.
Well, these are normal people. These are just muggles. They're not used to the radio world.
But I'm like, "You saw me doing check. Can you hear me on the headphones? Can you yeah.
The question,
you got a kick out of that
she was asking you directly, "Can you hear me?" She could hear you.
She could hear me. It's almost like she could hear me less because she had headphones on that weren't plugged in. The headphones were blocking the audio hitting her ears. So finally she plugged it in and she's like, "Oh, I can really hear now."
Also changes the vibe.
Yeah. So at one point, the podcast is over and it's Blake and I, right? 30 minutes. Podcast is over. And now, because it's in the afternoon, we want to go get dinner. But we have a child at home, 18-year-old Dutch. So I call Dutch to see what he wants to do for dinner. And then Blake starts asking him questions about our marriage.
Dutchie,
What's good?
what's the greatest thing about your parents' marriage?
Probably you guys haven't gotten divorced.
Why do you say that?
Because I see people with divorced parents. I'm like, damn, that must suck.
You don't have 2 rooms?
Oh, that would be cool, though.
2 Christmases?
All right, never mind.
Bro, remember I had that penthouse picked out.
Yeah, you know what? Hey, forget my answer. That doesn't count. Probably getting to witness what true love is like. Got you guys. You're welcome.
Do you ever hear your mother and I making love?
Oh, my God.
Stop it.
So you're going to hear those answers.
Oh, my, this could be the greatest podcast of all time.
But he didn't know he was on the podcast. That's just the way he talks to us. Like, we went to dinner, like, you're so funny on the podcast. He's like, what podcast? Like, that was your mom and I were calling you, but then I put you on the podcast because I was recording. Isn't that funny?
That's so funny. Just being your son. That's
I know. It's unbelievable. Anyway, speaking of my son, what's going on with your son, the youngest, Kyle? They're always so different.
They're always so different. And I had a moment where I felt a little bit like parent shamed. So Easton is 7. He's about to turn 8. And when he was about 6, tried to get him to ride a bike, right? It's a rite of passage as a kid. You got to learn how to ride a bike at some point, right? And he fell and he got so discouraged that he would like refuse to get on the bike again. And he said, Mom, I'm going to learn how to ride my bike when I'm 7. And I said, okay, I'll give you a break, right? We're not going to force it. It should be a fun thing, right? Riding a bike is super fun. Like,
Totally fair.
let's make this fun. So he's 7 now. And he's about to turn 8, and I keep bringing it up to him. I'm like, "Hey, remember when you said you would learn how to ride a bike when you were 7? You're almost going to be 8, so we gotta get this in here pretty quick. And the weather's nice. You gotta get out there and get on that bike again." And the problem is his bike that we got him when he was 6, the tire exploded, and the bike's too small for him, and so the bike's broken basically. And I'm like, I need to go buy him a bike because if I keep telling him he needs to ride a bike, if one day he says, okay, today's the day, I want to be prepared. Mm-hmm. So I've been looking for bikes and I found one at this bike store by my house. And I was talking to the guy that worked there and he's like, how old's your son? I'm like, well, he's 7, almost 8. He goes, okay, so by that time, most of these kids are usually in, like a BMX bike. He goes, what does he like to ride? Like mountain bike, BMX bike? Where's he riding? I go, he doesn't ride yet. I'm like, he goes, he doesn't know how to ride a bike? And I was like, not yet. He's all, And immediately I'm like, okay, I'm the worst parent ever. I tried. And I felt like going into the whole story and telling him like I did try. And he said he would do it when he was 7. And he's 7 now. So now's the time. And then I was just like,
Judgy
forget
bike
it. I'm not
people.
going to say anything.
I see the guy okay, hold on. He goes, goes, gets in his car, leaves.
I'm out of here.
Guy sitting in the lobby of the bike shop.
It's like you missed the window, so it's just too late. He can't ever start at 7.
Right.
Yeah,
and I'm
it's
like, he can learn. People
Yeah.
learn when they're an
Well,
adult.
you're
It's
saying
fine.
riding a bike is fun. It is, but I know there's like a core moment. Like I remember my dad teaching me how to ride a bike, and it was terrible.
Yeah.
I crashed into a parked car. I remember like it was yesterday. Because my dad's running with me, holding the back, and I'm pedaling, and then all of a sudden I don't hear him anymore, and I'm riding it, and I look back to see where my dad is. And he's way down the street, and I go bam right into a parked car. It was terrible. And I remember taking the bike and throwing it in the street, and I'd leave it in the middle of the street for like an hour, and cars would drive around it, and then I went and got it, and then later. I loved the bike, and then I, took the handlebars off and put cooler handlebars on. Then I took apart the whole bike and put it back together, and then have extra pieces.
That's probably not safe.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying that, like, you got to have hope.
A boy
I
is
do
like,
have
gonna get there.
hope.
He'll get
Although
there.
I did show him the bike that I brought home yesterday, and I said, "What do you think?" He's like, "I'm not going to ride." I was like, "I think you will." He's going to do it. It's going to be a whole moment. It's going to be awesome. It's going to happen, and he's going to love it at some point.
All right, so the Couples Podcast, I forgot to say it, the Couples Podcast, you'll be able to get it on our on-demand channel. So if you're listening to the podcast of this show right now, same place. It'll drop if you... you have to, if you subscribe, it'll just download automatically, right?
That's correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's just part of the show.
It's a John D. and Rich Couples, are we calling it Couples Therapy or
Couples
Podcast?
Therapy.
Couples Therapy, and it'll drop Sunday at 10 a.m.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.